In the early hours of the 7th of May 2025, India unleashed Operation Sindur, a meticulously planned tri-service precision strike campaign that targeted 9 terrorist infrastructure sites deep inside Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. In just 23 to 25 minutes, indigenous BrahMos supersonic cruise missiles, Scalp EG missiles from Rafale fighters, loitering munitions and precision-guided artillery reduced long-standing sanctuaries of the Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Toiba to ashes. This was not war, it was accountability. The operation's name, Sindur, carried profound symbolism. It honored the victims of a barbaric terror attack weeks earlier, where widows were left with their Sindur forever untouched. April 22nd, 2025. A day of horror in the idyllic meadows of Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir. At least 3 to 5 militants linked to the Resistance Front, a proxy of the Lashkar-e-Taiba, stormed the Baisaran Valley. They segregated tourists by religion, executing 25 Hindu tourists and 1 Nepali national in cold blood, would not go unanswered. 26 lives snuffed out to incite communal division. A local Muslim pony operator was also killed. Intelligence traced the plot to handlers in Pakistan.
मैं बहुत स्पष्ट शब्दों में कहना चाहता हूं, जिन्होंने ये हमला किया है, उन आतंकियों को और इस हमले की साजिश रचने वालों को उनकी कल्पना से भी बड़ी सजा मिलेगी। सजा मिलकर के रहेगी। अब आतंकियों की बची खुची जमीन को भी मिट्टी में मिलाने का समय आ गया है।
As outrage gripped the nation, India mobilized. A day after Pahalgam, India had decided there would be retaliation. On the 24th of April, military options were presented to the Prime Minister, the National Security Advisor, and the Chief of Defence Forces. On the 29th of April, India's top leadership had shortlisted the targets they wanted to hit. On the 5th of May, the date and time for the strikes was decided. 2 days later, India struck. There were 9 targets, 7 hit by the army, 2 by the Air Force. In the dead of night, Operation Sindur struck a symbolically vital target, the Markaz Subhanallah complex in Bahawalpur, southern Punjab in Pakistan. The 15 to 18 acre wall compound disguised as a mosque and madrasa was the operational headquarters of the Jaish-e-Mohammed founded by Masood Azhar. It served as a hub for recruitment, indoctrination and planning attacks like the 2001 Parliament assault and the 2019 Pulwama bombing. Located on Bahawalpur's outskirts along National Highway 5, it lay over 100 kilometers from the nearest international border point in Rajasthan and more than 400 kilometers from the LOC, deep in Pakistani territory, long considered untouchable. Further north in the Shekhupura district, the strikes hit the 200-acre Markaz-e-Taiba complex in Nangal Sadeh near Muridke. The vast self-contained facility with madrasas, residences and farms was the Lashkar's headquarters under Hafiz Saeed. It orchestrated attacks like the 2008 Mumbai carnage and served as an initial training ground for operatives. Just 5 kilometers north of Muridke and 30 kilometers from Lahore, the site was only 40 to 50 kilometers from the international border near Wagha Atari, close yet shielded by its proximity to civilian areas. These precision strikes in Bahawalpur and Muridke deliberately targeted the command centers of the Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Toiba, groups linked to the Pahalgam attack. Using standoff weapons like BrahMos missiles, India reduced key structures to rubble, eliminating high-value terrorists while sparing military sites. By reaching deep into Pakistani Punjab, far beyond previous operations, Operation Sindur erased old red lines, signaling that no terrorist haven, regardless of distance from the border, would remain safe.
When India launched Operation Sindur in the early hours of the 7th of May, the objectives were clear, limited and repeatedly emphasized: precision strikes on 9 terrorist infrastructure sites deep inside Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The targets were carefully chosen. India used standoff weapons, BrahMos, loitering munitions, Rafale-delivered scalp missiles to ensure that no Pakistani military installations or civilian areas were hit. The message from Delhi was unambiguous. This is not escalation. This is accountability for the Pahalgam massacre. For the first 24 hours, India held that line firmly. Official briefings stressed restraint, proportionality, and a deliberate avoidance of Pakistan's regular forces. The aim was to dismantle terror launchpads without triggering a wider conflict. But that calculus changed dramatically when Pakistan retaliated, not just with counterstrikes on Indian forward positions, but with deliberate attempts to try and target military bases deep inside Indian territory, airfields, and alarmingly, even religious sites in border areas.
In the early hours of the 7th of May, shortly after India struck, the response of the Pakistani military was instant. And the air battle over the subcontinent was the most intense since the 1971 war. The details remain murky. While India did encounter losses, no numbers were spelled out of aircraft losses. What is clear is that no pilots were killed in action in the fighting during the early hours of the 7th of May. As the rules of engagement changed, the Indian Air Force targeted a Pakistani JF-17 with an Adhampur-based S-400 surface-to-air missile system, bringing down the Pakistani jet at a range of over 200 kilometers.
You know, we are in a combat scenario, and losses are a part of combat. The question that you must ask us, Okay. And indeed, that we must ask ourselves, you inclusive, is have we achieved our objectives? Have we achieved our objective of decimating that terrorist camp? And the answer is a thumping yes. And the results are for the whole world to see. All I can say is that we have achieved our objectives that we selected, and all our pilots are back home.
For 88 hours, India and Pakistan fought. Thousands of Pakistani drones flew across the line of control and the international border. The goal was clear: to saturate Indian air defenses, exploit weaknesses, strike targets, and get a clear idea of the location of Indian defenses. The numbers were overwhelming. By the 9th night, 400 Pakistani drones had been detected across the Indo-Pak front, from Siachen in the north to Gujarat in the south. Drones flew overhead Indian cities including Amritsar. Air defense guns opened up to ward off potential attacks. One of the primary objectives of Pak forces was to attempt to take down the S-400 unit in Adhampur. This was India's first line of defense, a state-of-the-art Russian-built system capable of taking out enemy aircraft up to 400 kilometers away. Pakistan tried to hit the S-400 unit with extremely fast CM-400 missiles. They failed.
As the intensity of the Pakistani attacks picked up, New Delhi strengthened its resolve and the escalation matrix rose sharply as India's armed forces went on the offensive, targeting more than 10 frontline Pakistani bases. These turned out to be the deepest attacks on Pakistani soil since the 1971 war, and the results were stunning. The satellite imagery of these attacks, which we brought you first on NDTV, showed incredibly accurate hits, striking at the heart of Pakistan.
On the 10th of May 2025, in the early hours, the Indian Air Force executed coordinated strikes using air-launched cruise missiles, including the BrahMos and the long-range Scalp, fired from Su-30 MKI and Rafale jets. They hit 8 to 11 key PAF bases across northern, central and southern commands, aiming to degrade Pakistan's aerial capabilities in retaliation for prior escalations. High-resolution satellite images confirm extensive damage across the targeted sites. At Noor Khan near Rawalpindi, strikes destroyed specialized military vehicles and caused heavy collateral damage to adjacent infrastructure and buildings. Mushaf in Sargodha sustained multiple craters on the runway, including one at a key intersection, rendering it inoperable. Shahbaz and Jacobabad saw a major hangar destroyed on the main apron, with possible secondary damage to the air traffic control building. India believes F-16s were destroyed here. Bholari featured a direct hit, creating a massive hole in an aircraft hangar roof, along with structural collapse and debris. Rafiki experienced damage to operational rooms and shelters. Murid had structural hits to command and control buildings with roof collapses. Rahim Yar Khan was left with a significant crater piercing the sole runway. And Sakar suffered the complete destruction of an unmanned aerial vehicle hangar, accompanied by surrounding fires and wrecked facilities. The strikes marked the combat debut of the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile in a major operation, alongside Scalp and other precision munitions, demonstrating India's advanced standoff strike reach deep inside Pakistan. Indian assessments indicate several Pakistani aircraft were destroyed or damaged on the ground, including F-16s and JF-17s in hardened shelters, as well as possible losses to an AWACS surveillance platform, severely impacting the Pakistan Air Force's fleet readiness.
We have signs of one C-130 class of aircraft, one AEW&C class of aircraft, and at least 4 to 5 fighter aircraft, most likely F-16, because that base happened to be F-16, which would have been under maintenance that time. Along with that, one SAM system, which has been destroyed. And so these are the strikes that, the destruction that has taken place on ground by our strikes.
By lunchtime on the 10th of May, Pakistan had had enough. Their Director General of Military Operations called India's DGMO with the message that Pakistan wanted out. They wanted a ceasefire. This was the same Pakistani Director General of Military Operations who had said that Pakistan would fight on the 7th of May when he was told on the hotline that in fact India's goals were only to strike terror targets. While Operation Sindur has never ended, with India making it clear that Pak-sponsored terror would be met by a firm Indian response, it remains clear that the enemy, terrorists, will continue to push India's resolve. On the 10th of November 2025, a car exploded near the Red Fort in the heart of Old Delhi. At least 15 people were killed. More than 20 have been injured. Investigators continue to try and trace links to Pakistan. Which is why, as the year comes to a close, there's always a sense that Op Sindur 2 may be closer than many think. Vishnu Shom for NDTV.